Okay, so we'll be continuing with the next unit, unit number 9 in our learning. We're going to be starting the final parak, which is parak Dalet of Masechet Yoma, of course. The end of parak Gimel that we did previously ended off with somewhat of a tangent discussing the various adjustments that were made, the additions that were made to the Beit HaMikdash, which ones were acceptable, which ones were praised, which ones were not. And now as we begin Parak Dalet, so we go back to really how that discussion started, to the Kohen after he did Vidoy upon his original Korban. So you'll recall that he also took, had a box in which two lots were placed for the Seirim, for the sheep that were going to be part of the Avodah, as we're going to discuss momentarily. And that box, we started talking about how it originally was made of wood and then was made of gold. So now that it was made of gold, so that's when we got on our tangent. Now we're going to go back to our original story about how he would take the lots. So the Mishnah says as follows: Taraf bakalpi v'he'ela shnei goralot. He took, or he grabbed, he mixed the kalpi, this box which had in it the goralot, the lots, and he took out both of them again. So there were two lots in it. These were the two goats that were going to be used as part of the avodah. One was going to go la Hashem as a korban in the Beit HaMikdash itself. The other was going to go out, what we call la Azazel, was going to go out of the Beit HaMikdash to be eventually thrown off a cliff, as we'll as the Masechet continues later on. So he would draw these two lots to figure out which animal would be which one would go la Hashem and which one would go la Azazel. So these two lots that he took out, he took both of them out of the box. Echad katuv alav l'Hashem, one of them said la Hashem, meaning to Hashem. Echad katuv alav la Azazel, and the second one said on it that it is for Azazel. So he would take out both, one in each hand. Rashi says he would specifically grab them very quickly to show that in no way was he favoring one over the other, but rather he was taking both of them out together equally. One said on it la Hashem, one said la Azazel. Haskan mimino, the skan, the helper of the Kohen, who we came across earlier, sort of his right hand man, would be on the right side of the Kohen Gadol, v'rosh av beitin mismalo, and the head of the beitin would be on his left side. And with them there, he would pull both of these lots out. Im shel shem ala biyamino, if the one for Hashem would come out in his right hand. Excuse that, sorry. If that one would come out in his right hand, then Haskan omerlo, the Sagan, his helper, who again was on his right side, would say to him, Ishi Kohen Gadol, my friend, my lord, in a respectful way, the Kohen Gadol, Hagba Yimincha, lift up your right hand, because he would see what was in his hand first. He would see that was the one Hashem, and he would tell him to lift his right hand. Ve'im shal shem ala bismalo, but if, in fact, the one that came up in his, the one that came up for Hashem ala bismolo, instead of in his yamin, in his right hand, it would be in his left hand. So then Rosh Av Beitin Omerlo, the head of the Beitin, would say to him, Ishi Kohen Gadol, my man, my lord, Kohen Gadol, Hagba Smolcha, put it in your left hand. Chazal say that it was somewhat less of an auspicious sign for it to be in his left hand than in his right hand. It was a better sign for it to be in his right hand, but either way, whichever way it came out, that's the way that it was, and that's how he took it out. So either the Sagan, his helper on his right side, would announce that one is la Hashem, or the one on his left side would be the one la Hashem. He would raise that hand, kind of picture it as like two boxers after a match. So he raised the hand of the winner, so the winner would be raised on that side. That was the animal that would go la Hashem, and the other one would go la Azazel. Natnam al shnei haseirim. So he would take these lots that he had drawn, he would put them onto the two seirim, the Omer la Hashem chatat, and he would say that on the one that was la Hashem, again that was the one with a focus on it, that was one that he would specifically announce first. He would announce that is la Hashem chatat, that is going to be a korban chatat to Hashem, as opposed to the other one, which would eventually go la Azazel, would be sent out into a place out in the wilderness, a specific spot, and thrown off of a cliff. Both of these, of course, are for kapara, it's Yom Kippur. They're both coming for atonement, but clearly from the Mishnah we see that the preference, the stress, is on the one that goes LaHashem. That's the one that was going to be announced. That's the one obviously named Hashem on it. The other one goes LaAzazel. It's sort of a way of throwing away the sins, avoiding the Beit HaMikdash, throwing them away somewhere else. The Ramban in Chumash is a famous comment, difficult to understand. It's Hashem commanding us that the various different powers, forces that are in the world, some sort of, even you call maybe in English, devilish kinds of forces, evil forces that Hashem creates. So normally, we are of course commanded to serve Hashem directly, never ever to serve other forces, never to serve any malach, never to serve certainly forces of evil, but even sources of good. We don't serve independently of Hashem. Rather, we of course serve Hashem directly. But this is the one exception where Hashem commands us to take that animal, that second animal, and serve it up kind of like a korban to these other powers of the world. A very, very strange idea, not something we normally do. Normally we daven to Hashem, we bring korbanot to Hashem, we do mitzvah for Hashem. We believe that we have a direct connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. That mitzvah allow us to connect straight to Hashem, and that the korban that was LaHashem, so that indeed we say LaHashem chatat. That was a regular korban, and that was one that was that the proper thing happened to it. Agati brought his regular korban. The other one, which this Mishnah sort of ignored, so that one is the one that goes LaAzazel, that goes into the midbar, and is sort of used as a totally different kind of korban to go away and to serve as a kapara for our averot, for the other powers in the world that Hashem creates and maintains as well. So finally, once you do that, once you've determined these two sheep, once you've determined where each one of them is going to go, so then you would declare LaHashem chatat. The Mishnah just concludes, Rabbi Yishmael Omer, Rabbi Yishmael adds over here, Lo hayat tzarich lomar chatat, elo LaHashem. He wouldn't have to say LaHashem chatat, it's a chatat for Hashem. Rather, you simply say it's LaHashem, that's it. You don't even have to mention that the type of korban it's going to be is a korban chatat. You can simply mention it is for Hashem. Vehin onim acharav, and they answer after him, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. As we saw earlier, when the name of Hashem was mentioned on Yom Kippur, the Shem HaMeforash, a special name of Hashem, so everyone who was there would have to answer when they heard that name, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is the name of Hashem's honor, Leolam Va'ed, forever and ever, for all of eternity. Upon hearing the special name of Hashem, so that was the proper response to say. Of course, we say that as well after we say the pasukim of Shema, the pasuk of Shema, I should say, Baruch Shem. In addition, if someone says Hashem's name in vain, if you say Bracha Levatala, you say Hashem's name. So also saying Baruch Shem Kol Malchuto Leolam Va'ed, we said Hashem's name, and we want to make sure that we have the proper respect that we show. Even the mention of Hashem's name warrants us to say a bracha as well. That is the end of Mishnah Aleph.